Hi, and welcome back to my channel. And today I want to ask the question, is the South African Matric Certificate worthless? In my opinion, the South African Matric Certificate has become worthless, but it is not useless. It is not useless because it has a value when it comes to finding work. If you do not have a Matric Certificate, you are not going to find any kind of skilled job. It is very hard out there if you do not have a Matric Certificate as a baseline of education. Why do I say the Matric Certificate is worthless? Well, that is a fault of our education system, where they have brought down the pass mark to a ridiculous level, where passing no longer means anything. The pass mark is at such a point that you can have more failures than successes and still be considered a success. Let me give you an example. If I go to a doctor, to a surgeon, and I want him to operate on my heart because there is some kind of heart problem, etc. This doctor became a doctor by learning the way our current education system teaches our scholars at school. Meaning, he only needs 3 or 4 of his patients to survive to be a successful doctor. Is that acceptable? It means that I only have a 30, maybe 40% chance of surviving this doctor's operations. Now, that is an extreme example, I know, but it is a very true one, because an education system should be designed so that there is a baseline from which a scholar can develop his future. And our current education system, the current Matric Certificate, has such a low standard that the baseline is very low. And so much additional education is required to get the person into a working environment where he is going to be useful to that environment. That's becoming virtually impossible for many people, because we have created an expectation with these scholars that I have a Matric Certificate, meaning I can have a job. Yes, everyone is entitled to a job. However, if you do not have the baseline education from which you need to develop into the skilled environment of a job, then how can we expect companies to hire matriculants expecting a standard baseline of education? It has been found that many matriculants can hardly read and write. I'm not saying everyone, but some. And unfortunately, a thought of non-competitiveness has now also been created. Meaning that, what I mean by that is, now that you have a Matric Certificate, and it appears that some of these matriculants have developed a mindset of entitlement. I have my Matric Certificate, so I am entitled to a job. I am entitled to further education, and I am entitled to big amounts of money as remuneration for my skilled labor. But they barely passed. How can we put people into our economic working environment who are not ready for that environment? The whole idea of schooling. Now, I'm going to go back onto history. But the whole idea of school is, and a lot of people out there, especially youngsters, will argue, why do I need school? And I was the same. I was a rebel at school. I always argued, why do I need school? But I did finish my matric. Not brilliantly high, but I finished it in fairly good marks. Now, why do you need matric? Why do you need any kind of schooling? And you only realize this later in life, that the education system prepares your mind for further education. It prepares your mind for a working environment, something you will need in order to survive and create a living, create a career for yourself. Learning to read and write alone is not enough. Basic math skill is absolutely important. I always wondered, why all this geometry? Why all this algebra? And today I appreciate what I learned at school, because I know there is a way to calculate certain things. Even though I may have forgotten it, I know there is a way to calculate certain things, and I can go and look it up. And if it's something I'm going to need often, I'll memorize it. But if I was never taught that geometry, if I was never taught that algebra, and I get into a situation where I need those kind of calculations, etc., I do not know that there is a process or formulas to calculate what I need to achieve a result, because I don't know that it exists. The fact that I've been taught that it exists is a benefit to me, to my mind, because I can develop it from there. The same goes for geography and history. Why geography? If I don't know that a country like, let's say China exists, I see a product made in China. Where's China? If I don't know where a country or geographic spacing of my country is, and I am now developing products, which is a sub-assembly product, well, let's put it this way. I have developed a component which I know can be used in creating a complete product, and I don't even know where the country of China is, where I would like to send this product so that they can create a bigger and more complete product. I don't know the distance. You have no concept of it. You start running into difficulties. If you don't know how big the world is, how do you communicate with the world? Same thing with history. Why is history important? Because history teaches us the mistakes our forefathers and other people, other nations made, so that we don't have to repeat those mistakes. Repeating mistakes impedes development and progress. We need to learn from mistakes. We don't have time to make all our own mistakes. We need to learn from the mistakes made by others in history, by studying history, so that we know that we should not repeat those mistakes. And unfortunately, getting back to our Matric Certificate, our Matric Certificate, as it currently stands, is worthless, because it does not teach us enough. It teaches us a third of what we really need to know to develop into successful adults. So those are my thoughts. If you have comments or opinions or corrections on what I have said, then please pop it down in the description or in the comments below. I'll look out for it. Try to respond when I get some time. But that's my opinion. Our Matric certificate has become worthless. Not useless, but worthless. And I feel that our education system really needs to up the standard so that we can start competing internationally again, because currently we are bottom feeders when it comes to our standard of matriculants. Just my thoughts. Good luck to the guys who have written matric out there, and those who do get their matric certificates. If you had good pass marks, be proud of that certificate. If you did not, guys, go do some more study work. And for those of you who are entering your matric year for next year, or for this year, 2019, study hard. Get good marks. Don't just try to get past. Study and get good marks, because it is going to mean something later in life. Enjoy 2019, guys.